All right. What's going on, everybody? We have another special guest with us today. And before we begin, I would like to say to all my Spotify users and other platforms that I now have a YouTube, so follow me on there. And our guest actually has a YouTube as well, which we'll get into as well. So, would you like to introduce yourself and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm AlphaSincere. What I actually do is men empowerment. So
Mm,
I encourage men to be more alpha and to be the best versions of themselves. I hope you're not having a hard time hearing me. It's kind of noisy.
you good?
So okay, you can hear me good. All right. So yeah, I encourage men to be the best versions of themselves as well as be the more alpha version of themselves. And it just simply means not being timid to life. It
Mm,
simply means attacking life and being confident and dominant in every aspect of your life, whatever that choose to be. Whatever you choose that. So and that's
I like
pretty
that,
much
man.
it.
All right. So, what's your story, man? Like, where did all this start from? Because I've been following you for a little while now. You post a lot of good stuff. What made you want to do it?
I'll give you a little background. What actually got me into it. I'm gonna give you my story, and then I'll give you a
Yeah.
background. What got me into the YouTube.
All right.
So I come from Chicago, South Side. It's a rough area, just the honest truth. I grew up in a abusive household. Both of my parents were addicted to the drugs. So I had a rough upbringing. Me and my four other siblings.
Mm,
As we got older, I always had my oldest brother who I kind of looked up to because obviously I couldn't look up to my father because he was abusive to my mother. He wasn't abusive to us, but he was abusive to my mother. So we left Chicago. We moved to Indianapolis, and from Indianapolis, my oldest brother then had to take the responsibility of the man of the house. You know how it goes.
right.
That way he can help my mother because obviously now she's a single mother of five. So my oldest brother always had this just natural alphaness to him. What I describe as alphaness is not necessarily just about women, it's more about life.
Mm,
He stepped up to the plate to be the man of the house. He would do anything necessary to make sure his siblings as well as his mother didn't go without food, or he took the position up with my father, just to be honest.
yeah.
And in every aspect of his life, he was always, I don't want to say he was like he's gone, but I'm getting to a reason why I'm saying, what I'm saying. So he was always very confident. He was always very sure of himself. He was always a risk taker. All these amazing qualities that inspired me and what I look to inspire into younger kings as well as older kings. This is why I call the guys on my channel, I call them kings because I try to program that into their mindset of respecting themselves and holding themselves to a higher standard,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So my oldest brother, he had this alpha mindset. The abundance mindset is what I call the alpha mindset, which is having abundance in every aspect of your life. Abundance mindset in every aspect of your life. So this means not just with women. I want to alliterate, make sure I get that understood because it goes way beyond women. I tell guys, when you're on your purpose and the women's going to be there,
Mhm.
they're not going nowhere. It's the mindset I try to program into my kings is that the abundance mindset will take you farther than anything ever will because when you have an abundance mindset, it applies to everything. So let me give you an example. You have people working shitty jobs where they're not happy, right?
Right.
This comes from the opposite of an abundance mindset. People having a scarcity mindset. I know this because I have people in my family with a scarcity mindset. When you have a scarcity mindset, your mindset is that this is the best you can do, or you don't believe in yourself well enough that it's something better out there for you. So you tolerate that woman who's mistreating you. You tolerate that job who's mistreating you, right? You tolerate your circumstances and your environment because you feel like this is the best this is going to get. This is all scarcity. It's not abundance. When a person have an abundance mindset, specifically men, because I teach men empowerment, I'm gonna get into why I specifically make sure it's only for men. Anyway, but anybody could be inspired by my content. I'm not like excluding in that sense, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, when you have an abundance mindset, it allows you to believe in yourself and have faith in yourself to know if I lose this job, I can find another job. And not only can I find another job, I can find a better job. If I lose this woman, it's not about being an asshole, because honestly, if the woman was doing what she was supposed to do, then you wouldn't have to worry about losing her, because she would be right where she need to be. So if you have to worry about losing a woman, obviously she's not meant for you. So this allows you to have that abundance mindset to say, it's all right. You're just not meant for me, but it's someone out there who's better. Matter of fact, it's multiple people out there who's better that may fit my needs. So back to my oldest brother. I hope I'm not losing you. I hope I'm not talking too much either.
No, go
Okay.
ahead. Talk as much as you want, man.
All right. So back to my oldest brother. He was always this mindset. He was always this quote unquote alpha example, right? What I kind of mold my, my channel after. He got married to this woman. Nowadays they call this the alpha woman, I'll say. She was an alpha woman.
Mm-hmm.
She was very manipulative. She was very dominant, and she was more masculine. So over time, she began to wear on this man. She began to wear on his spirit. She began to make him doubt himself. She began to bash him, treat him like a little boy. She did all these things to my brother, and he allowed it. And as time went on, I didn't even recognize him. He was a whole different person. Like, he began to call me and ask me for advice about life, about marriage, about certain things. And I'm not even married, never been married. But he wasn't the same no more. This woman had broke him. And that's where the motivation comes from. Just to answer your first question. That was a little backstory. Goes way deeper, but I want to kind of move forward. I don't want to, dread off that. So now where the channel actually came from is I'm a fan of a lot of women empowerment. I'm a fan of women entrepreneurs. I used to follow women entrepreneurs. A lot of my motivation come from women. I used to follow women entrepreneurs for years. Got their channels subscribed to, bookmarked. I don't care. I get inspiration, right? One thing I noticed when I was following women entrepreneurs was they would make content for women only. And it would be no guilt. Like, even like the few guys, it might have been probably 3 of us in the comment section. Because, like, I'll watch a video, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll watch a video, right? And the video might say, like, how I turned my $200 t-shirt business to $10,000, right?
Yeah.
You ladies can do it too. And this video is aimed at women empowerment. So you get in the video, and it's all women in the comment section, right? They're socializing. And like I said, it's probably me and 2 other dudes in there watching it. And, I'll type that I'm inspired. And they'll be like, okay, good. I'm glad you're inspired. But it was always like, this is for women. They had no guilt. And it's not even a race thing. It's not black. It's not white. It's not Chinese, Japanese. It's literally. Now, let me get to it. Before I lose my thought, I'm going to get to the next point.
All right.
Now, when I will watch the men, right, they would always have to put a disclaimer to how their content is for everybody. They would always have to put a disclaimer on how they're not excluding women, how they're not, not sexist necessarily, but whatever you want to call it. They're not excluding women from the content.
Like discriminatory or something.
Discriminatory, right? And this was a problem for me because, like I said, as a fan of women empowerment, I noticed something was wrong. I'm like, why can women be confident about, promoting and embracing femininity, promoting entrepreneurship to women, promoting dating advice. They talk about men in these, in these channels and these comment sections. They talk about men. Some of them either talk bad about men, and it's a sisterhood. And I don't see one creator apologize. I don't see one creator say, we're not excluding men. Men can watch my video. No, it's all about women empowerment, and they're not ashamed. So that's where the motivation came. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a channel And when I do a channel, it's going to be men empowerment. And one thing I'm never going to do is I'm never going to apologize and explain why I want to empower men, because the women are not doing it.
Mhm.
So I created my channel and I set off. How I started was, this is just a little motivational for, whoever's listening or watching. If you want to start a YouTube channel, anything you want to do in life, set small goals. The small goals lead to the big goals.
Mhm.
How I started was, because I have even guys hit me up and, man, how do you stay motivated? You got over 300 videos. How do you? It's because I told myself originally that I wanted to make 100 videos, and then I would see what I wanted to do after that.
Mhm.
Now, this was me tricking my brain because I'm just like everybody else. I know I get dismotivated. I can do something, and then you know how it goes. If things ain't going, we try not to get hop in views and stuff. But if you're putting your effort towards something and no one's watching, you might be like, man, forget this. I'm gonna go play basketball, right?
Yeah.
So I trick my mind, and these guys or whoever watching, women, whoever, you can do this as well. I trick my mind to treat it like a task. I said, well, just do 100 videos. Just promise yourself you'll do 100 videos. And from there, it's just me talking to myself, coming up with my YouTube channel. Once you hit the 100 videos, you can decide whether you want to quit or you want to keep going and set another goal. So I created my channel and I set off on my journey to do 100 videos. Now, also, I will like to tell people listening, you should have a passion. It shouldn't be about money or views and all these things that have no real meaning, because it don't matter what you set the goal. You're going to give up if you don't love it. You're going to give up if you don't have a real passion for it, because it's nothing sustaining you or keeping you there. Like for me, empowerment, I gave you the backstory. It was something that I was passionate about. So even when I get discouraged, one or the other will push me. If the passion didn't push me from what my brother went through and my life, let's say that didn't push me, then the task would push me. Come on, man, you just made it 20 videos. Let's see if you can get to 100. It will
Mhm.
be one or the other. But see, if you don't have that passion, that drive, then all you have is this task. So when you feel unmotivated, it's not going to be the passion there to push you when you may get to video number 15. I'm just using as an example. It don't have to be videos. It could be anything in life.
Right.
Video number 20. You're not going to have anything to push you. And I know, because honestly, the reason why I know I love men empowerment and helping men is because if you ask my family about me, I have done a million things. Like I can't sit still. I love doing things, but only different between those things is when there's no passion there, I give up. This is the only thing that I have yet to give up on, even when I'm discouraged, just because it's something that I don't have to get paid for. It's something I tell guys in my comment section all the time. They kind of give me compliments because I try to respond to every uh, comment, right?
Yeah.
But this is important. You should, if you're trying to become a YouTuber, another tip is try to turn every comment into a conversation.
Mm.
This is a very, you can write that down. Whoever's listening, it's very important when you are building a relationship with the people who are growing with you. Like that's what I like to call it, because at the end of the day, what you have to realize is the person like you right now, you're on the other end of the screen. You're not a number. You're a person. You're a human being.
Mhm.
People get so caught up with 100 views. Like I said, when I was getting 9 views, I remember I was pushing out videos, man. I was getting 9 views then on every video, and people was like, hey man, how you keep going, and because they would give up. They like, man, you pushing out, you pushing up, you getting close to 100 videos, and you still getting 9 views, man. I would just give up. But they didn't realize that I wasn't doing it for the views. Yes, you want to do it for the views in the sense that you want more people to see it because you have a message to, relate. Obviously, what I'm saying? If you have the cure to cancer, you will want more people to see that video so they can cure, right? So in that sense, it's natural. As humans, if you truly care about helping people, yes, we want 1 million views. Yes, we want 1 million subscribers, because at the end of the day, that's 1 million people seeing it who can show it to 1 million more people, and it can help and it can heal, right? So I'm not gonna act like, oh no, I don't care about views at all. No, we all do to a certain extent, even if it's genuinely you want to help, right? But I didn't allow 9 views to distract me, because when I set out to do it, I literally just wanted to help that one person that was watching. Because I know it say 9 views, but I tell people all the time, it could be 3 people watching multiple times, or watching it later, and then they watch it from their phone, and then they watch it from the computer. Just because it's 9 views don't mean it's 9 people. It's probably less than 9 people. So I say all that to say, anything you're working towards, just make sure you have a genuine passion for it, and you're not caught up in the hype nowadays. Also on my channel, this is why I preach about going against instant gratification. This is
Mm,
why I preach, getting control over dopamine, because in this generation, that is the destruction of a lot of men, women as well. But like I said, it's going to be a kind of theme in this podcast, is because I do men empowerment.
mhm.
Women can take motivation from me. I don't discriminate. Look, I'm explaining myself, even though I said I wouldn't. Yeah, that's all explaining myself. but anyway, but you have to have a genuine passion for it, man, because if you don't, Kings, you will give up.
Mm. So you said a lot of good things in there, man. So
Appreciate
one thing is that obviously a lot of men don't have that male role model growing up. I feel like, because me personally, I didn't realize till later. I went through the whole court process and the whole, my parents never got married, but it was like the child custody thing.
it. Right, right,
A-
right.
And it was just because of that. Like, my dad wasn't really there in that way that I needed him. And I know a lot of men that don't have that male role model, or like you said, you
Absolutely.
had an abusive father. So would you say that would it be better to have a abusive father, but at least he's a father figure for you, or was it more of you had that brother, so at least you had a male role model type to look up to? So is it more important for a father to be there, even if he's not maybe like the best father, or what is your opinion on that?
Great question. Honestly, no, it's not as important for a father to be there if he's not a good father. And I'm
Mm,
gonna be honest with you. The reason I would say that is because just because you have a male figure in the house doesn't make him a male. A man, excuse me, right?
right. Mm,
And we have to understand this, because you can have a man, like I said, a man in the house. What was you going to teach me? How to abuse women?
mhm,
If you have, I know men in households who do nothing but use women, and they behave like children. It's men nowadays that get with a woman because she has a car and an Xbox, and
yeah.
they can go over there with their friends and smoke weed and play the game and drive her car around. Now let's say this woman has a child. He's not a father figure to that child.
Mm,
So just because you didn't have a father, that you can turn out better than the guy. I know plenty of guys who didn't have fathers in their lives and turned out better than guys who did have fathers.
mm. It reminds me of that story of the two brothers who grew up in that household with that alcoholic father. And
Yeah,
when asked like what happened, with why it like one brother turned out good and successful, the other one was an alcoholic, and
right,
they asked the same question like, what? Well, what's the difference? What made y'all go this way? And they both said the same thing, like, well, with the father like mine, I had no other choice.
right.
And it reminds me of that. So it's pretty cool that you said that. But another thing is you talked about abundance mindset. So, where did all this come from? Was it mainly just from your brother, or did you get involved in like more personal development? Did you go to seminars? Do you hear something on YouTube or podcasts, or was it just you kind of seeing that example from your brother? And so you were like, man, he inspires me to do this. Or was it more than him? Was it other influencers or YouTubers or other people you looked up to or something like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. It sparked from my brother, but it grew way outside of my brother. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like what I am now and what I have personally become because of myself as a man. First of all, it was from life experiences first.
Hmm.
I would tell guys to start there, because life experiences is the best teacher. So, I had to teach myself how to be a man, because, I had my first apartment at 18. I moved out, got my own place. You know, some people may do it younger, some people may do it older, but from 18, I began to teach myself, really from 17, but from 18, I began to, when I was out on my own paying bills, I began to teach myself how to be a man.
Hmm.
Now I moved to a different state, so I was no longer, like I said, my brother had become weak anyway. This is just the honest truth. So he wasn't much of a role model to me or someone I could get influence from. So I had to pull that from within. So I had to seek that knowledge. I had to seek improvement. Just like if someone wants to get into fitness, they're going to begin to go to a gym, or they're going to begin to look at the guys who work out, type in it on YouTube, right? So for me, becoming a man and having to get out on my own, I had to then begin to seek, men empowerment, men improvement, because I had no one. I couldn't look at my older brother anymore. I couldn't, get it from my father. So at the end of the day, it was all on me. So then I begin to, like the generation, like we do nowadays. I begin to go on YouTube. I begin to look at motivational videos. Eric Thomas,
Mm.
I hope I'm saying his name is Thomas or Thompson, or uh, um, Charisma on Command
Yeah, I
was
like that one.
yeah,
It's a
was
good one
another
too.
one. Evans Carmichael. These
Mm.
guys, man, the list goes on, man. Valuetainment.
Mm.
These
Got you
guys,
good,
all these
David.
guys, man. Yeah, I watched all them guys, man, and they all, I took a piece, of inspiration from all of them, man, because what they were
Mm-hmm.
doing was I wasn't seeing people doing it. It was to be commended, man. Like I said, we're in an era, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. I love women empowerment, man. It's good. I think men should be empowered, women should be empowered. Children should, everybody should be empowered. So I'm not saying it as a bad thing, but I'm just simply saying we are in a day and age where women empowerment currently gets pushed more
Mm-hmm.
because it's been said that women been oppressed. So now they're pushing it more, and that's fine. But let's not forget about the men, let's not push us to the back, because you can't, women like do not want to be generalized, but it's okay to generalize men. It's okay to tell men all men are dogs. It's okay to say all men are sexist,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't generalize women like that. So the point I'm making is, reason why men empowerment is so important is because of the fact that just because you got some scumbags or sleaze bags, it's amazing guys out here. I know because I talk to them every day in my comment section. I talk to them every day in my DMs, and they tell me, man, they ask me for advice. High school, middle school, they're not trying to sexually assault anyone or do anything wrong. They're trying to find inspiration because, like what you just said, most of the guys that I talk to never had a father in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So they may come to me seeking that inspirational motivation that I seek from Evan Carmichael, that I seek from Valuetainment, that I seek from other guys. And if I don't pass the torch, I am selfish.
Yeah.
This is why I teach guys in our community. And by community, I mean like kind of like the men empowerment, red pill, whatever you want to call it, community. I teach guys that we have to stick together rather than go against each other, because I see a lot of guys. This is my last statement. I'll let you finish, but I see a lot of guys who will say things like, "Oh, this guy's stealing content from him," or "You're stealing." And I'm like, the purpose is when someone gives you knowledge, when someone gives you wisdom, you want to spread that wisdom as far as you can.
Mm-hmm.
If someone, like I said, I like to use this as an example to show people how severe it is. If someone was right now to get confirmed the cure to cancer to you, and then you go lay in the grave and die,
Mm-hmm.
what was it served no purpose.
Yeah.
So you will never see me, hate on or diss anybody, any men empowerment. Even if they diss me, I will never diss them back, because you don't have to get it from me. I just want you to get the message. I don't care who it's coming from.
Speaking of information, it's like everything has already been said anyway, like from the times of Aristotle and the Greek philosophers, Plato, Socrates, a lot of Stoics, they talk about a lot of masculine shit. But
Indeed,
there's something you said earlier when we first started, because I'm writing everything down as you're talking to.
absolutely.
Um, you said men not being the same, from a woman, from being with the wrong woman. Like you said about your brother, you just see kind of like the life being drained down to him. And I've seen this in a lot of men, and it's just sad to see. Whenever they get with the wrong woman, I've seen like the most liveliest animated men, just full of life, energy, wanting to take on the world, and they get with the wrong woman, and then that woman just slowly just fucking sucks the life out of them more and more and more. So
Indeed.
it's that, and it's also like you said, it's like men. One thing I have seen now is more men's coaches. So I'm actually really glad about that, because for a while it kind of felt like men didn't really have that space to go anymore. Like that space where we can vent our frustrations, where we can be a man, where we can talk like unfiltered about the shit that
Right.
bothers us.
Right.
Because every time we do, we go to Facebook or social media, and we'll comment on something, and then you'll have like fucking like 100 women jump in and be like, "What are you talking about? Don't you know
Right,
women have to go through this or some shit?" And it's
right,
like,
right.
so it's like we always have to be filtered in what we say, and there's
That's it.
no
That's it.
yeah, and so that was one thing that I want to talk about, but there's another thing too. Just kind of finishing up on things you were talking about earlier about your vision on YouTube. You said you made a goal for 100 videos.
Okay, yeah,
So I think that was really important to because I talked about this in a few of my podcasts. A lot of people give up way too fast, you know.
yeah, absolutely.
So you had a vision. You said, "Okay, this is my vision. This is my end goal," and you focus on the end goal instead of like your progress. It's like you were. It seemed like you appreciated that daily progress, but you always kept the end goal in mind.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I tell men all the time that having that vision will push you when you don't feel like doing it anymore, when you feel unmotivated. It's because you're focusing on what is it that I really am after. It's not, if you focus on that instant gratification, like you said, that comes and goes.
All right.
But that vision is what going to drive you. When you're not feeling
And I
motivated.
tell guys all the time, just remember why you started. When at
Hmm.
that point, when you are focused on something that you're passionate about and purpose, have a purpose for it. We're not speaking on just trying to get rich. Then that's where the end goal is set at the beginning. We set the end goal at the beginning. Find what you have a passion for,
Yeah.
find your purpose, and then you set your end goal. That way, along, like you said, along the steps, when you get this unmotivated, it will come. It's gonna come. It comes for all of us.
Hmm.
Your end goal is already set in stone. So now you have that end goal to say, man, if I could at least set that, I had that end goal. What made me even set that end goal? What space was I in when I set that end goal? What was my thought process when I made that end goal?
Hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you talk about this is another topic I wanted to get on too. You talk about semen retention and no-fap.
Yeah,
Can you talk about the benefits of that and how that started? Because obviously, a lot of men they could find that like a hard beast to slay. Like like holding on to that semen retention and not masturbating and shit. So, what are the benefits of it? How did you get into it? And what was that journey like for you?
okay, yeah. First, I'll jump into the benefits of it.
Hmm.
I always tell guys that the number one benefit for me, anyway, is for men to regain power and control over their sexual urges.
Mm.
Yes, they have benefits such as energy and all this stuff. This is the more known benefits that people talk about all the time. Give you more energy in the gym and stuff. Ultimately, my favorite benefit is getting men to have control over their sexual urges, because when you have control over your sexual urges, guess what happens? You make rational decisions. And when you make rational decisions, guess what else happens? You are more conscious about the women you choose to deal with, the women you choose to sleep with. You are more aware of the risks you are taking when you engage in these activities. This is why you see men lose everything they work for in divorce court. This is why you see men lose everything they work for due to child support. I was just reading an article not too long ago where it said a man called his wife cheating and he made her kill I guess the guy she was sleeping with.
Hmm.
Regaining control over your sexual urges help avoid this. I actually just made a video where I titled it I think I put red pill versus feminists or women.
Feminism, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was basically saying what you women aren't realizing is this is helping you too. Because when he's not so emotional, when he's not a slave to his sexual urges, this keeps him from coming home when you may not know better, right? If you're a disloyal woman, you may have issues. You may grow up in a broken home and you're doing dirt. This help. I'm teaching this man. We're teaching this man. You're teaching this man. We're teaching men and young men to know their worth. You deserve better. You come home and catch your wife cheating, guess what? Leave her. You come home and catch your girl cheating, leave her. This saves your life, literally. Or do you want men to be emotional to where he comes home, catch you cheating, and blows your brains out and blows his own brains out?
Mhm.
So, my favorite thing about semen retention, I'm getting to other benefits too, but my number one favorite benefit is controlling your sexual urges. I love it. And that's what it done for me. Like when I regained control of my sexual urges came because I was a chronicle masturbator, man. Like I don't know if that's the word, but man, like I love
Yeah.
porn. I love porn. I love masturbating, and that was just the truth. Like a lot of
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
I had a high sex drive, man, and whether it was with women or porn, I had a high sex drive, and I noticed now that the second, and this is all mainly no fap right now, but the second benefit we can get into is regain of life and motivation, regain of
Mhm.
purpose. When I used to, and I'm gonna speak on myself because I always like to tell people I'm not perfect. We're on this journey together.
Mhm.
Everything you're going through, I went through, or I'm still going through with you. This is why we're building together. So, what I noticed on my nofap journey was when I used to get that instant gratification, that quick dopamine, I
Mhm.
had no life purpose, man.
For everybody, dopamine is that feel good hormone in your brain. It's a neurotransmitter. I just want to make that
Right.
clear. But go on.
So, I had no life purpose. I see videos, people make videos, women make videos, male doubters make videos. Is semen retention, I'll say no fap. It was probably more no fap. Is no fap really real? Is the benefits really real or just hype? Is it placebo? I'm like, man, it's nothing placebo about not having motivation. It's nothing
Mhm.
placebo. I don't care. You can say it's placebo for God. And even if it is placebo, what are he's benefiting? If this guy says he go to the gym and ever since he doesn't masturbate, he goes to the gym and he's in about a spirit while working out, that's a win. But when it comes to motivation, for these young guys to say, man, I did semen retention, I did no fap, and now I have motivation again in life. Now I want to do this. Now I spend more time with my family. At first, I just locked myself in my room and played the video game and ate Doritos,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's all beneficial. How is that not great benefits? I don't need, excuse me, I don't need a scientist to prove to me that this have benefits if I'm watching this young dude every day smoke weed with his friends and waste his life and masturbate. And the moment he tries this, he no longer wants to do that. He wants to seek better. I don't
Mhm.
give a fuck what a scientist at that point say. That's just that's just how I feel. A scientist come out and be like, you know what, we proved today, no fap is a myth, is no benefits, is no. I wouldn't care. I care
Mhm.
about results. I care about what guys tell me in my messages. I care about what guys say in the comment section. I care about what guys tell other no fap creators. When I go on there and I see guys 13-year-old and the older guys as well, but like I said, I like to get focus on the younger guys because a lot of times, they're the future, man. The youth is the future. So, I like to focus on younger guys as well as older guys, but it makes me feel better when I see guys talking about I'm 17 years old, man, and because of NoFap, I'm more aware and I'm realizing how sick porn is. That makes me feel good. And I ain't even talking about on my content. I'm talking about on other people's content. You know what I'm saying? Like just on social media, period. When I just see young guys like, man, I'm 15, I'm 17, I'm however age. And since I started NoFap, man, I feel like I could take over the world. Since I started NoFap, man, I have goals again. I have dreams. I want to. How is that not benefits?
Yeah.
So I can care less about videos saying that, it's a placebo, it's no real benefits. I don't need a scientist. I just need the people. I need the people to say, man, since doing no faps and doing semen retention, I noticed something different within myself. You know,
Mhm.
that's it.
So was that hard? Was that hard for you when you first started? Because before we get into that, I'll say like even when you first start, your no fab journey or whatever, probably like after the third, fourth, fifth day, somewhere around there, you just really feel like that testosterone build up, like that, like
Yeah,
like
you do.
I
You
could take
do.
on the world. Yeah, that benefit alone is like, man, you want to go out and you want to fucking like run 10 miles or some shit,
That's
you
what I
know?
said. It motivates you. If it's that
Yeah.
urge, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So what was your journey like specifically in that? Like was it hard for you when you first started and like have you relapsed since or what's that like?
Very, very similar to what you said. When I first started, man, it was
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm.
It was that that GRRR,
Yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
that monster, that beast inside. Like, man, this is really working. But
Mhm.
then the unmotivation, the dismotivation came because porn is an addiction. People don't want to accept that. It's an addiction.
Mhm.
Masturbation, like I said, is an addiction because anytime we get dopamine, instant dopamine like that,
Mhm.
it messes up our receptors, man. Anytime we can just reward ourselves,
Mhm.
like that. This is why fast foods, fast food have similar, effect. This is why sugar has similar, because anytime we don't work for something and we at a push of a button, think about it like at a push of a button, you can watch any porn you want, any
Hmm.
fantasy you want. At a push of a button, not literally a button, but you
Yeah.
can masturbate.
Hmm.
Like nobody can stop you from masturbating. Like you can masturbate at work, you can masturbate. And I'm saying all that to say, like, realize, imagine like a drug addict having an unlimited source of drugs attached to their body.
Hmm.
They were overdose. That's scary. Now think about it. Like masturbation is an unlimited source of dopamine. I mean, yeah, you may get tired, but once you got energy again, you right back at it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
the process. I'm saying all that to say, I'll be lying if I told you the process was easy when I first started.
Hmm.
Now, have I relapsed? No, I haven't relapsed on NoFap, and no, I haven't relapsed on semen retention. I can look you dead in your face and say that and sign the truth because I tied my semen retention and NoFap. I actually have a video about this where I talked about how once I tied my semen retention and NoFap into spirituality, it changed for me.
Hmm.
I used to do it for, and even if you're not a spiritual person, which I have people that's religious, spiritual, I have people who don't believe in God, don't believe in
Right.
anything. That's fine. I tell people everybody's welcome. Come on. But even if you're not spiritual, one thing, just take this message and apply it.
Hmm.
Eventually, if you're doing NoFap for the smaller things, for the lower level, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
that's going to get old. And I know from experience. Reason why I kept relapsing, guys be like, man, how don't you relapse? I keep it's because I kept relapsing like them because my no fat, my semen retention was tied to like most people when I first started. I'm gonna be honest, it was tied to women. When I heard that it can help with women attraction. Oh, if you hold your seed, you don't watch porn, it attracts more women. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, well, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then that eventually wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to sustain me. So
Hmm.
eventually, once I didn't care about that no more, guess what? I'm back masturbating.
Hmm.
It was literally the only thing that stopped me from relapsing is spirituality because when I got spiritual into it, I started looking at porn on a deeper level as something sick, something twisted. And it changed then in my mind. Now, if I do it, it's different. See, before when I relapsed, it was just okay. I was doing it for female attraction. I was doing it for gains in the gym. So what is the real punishment? Oh well, I relapsed. I'm not letting down gains in the gym. I'm not letting down female attraction. But when I tie it to deviancy, when I tie it to wickedness, sickness, the fact that these companies are targeting us, targeting me in specific, targeting people, human beings, the fact that these companies are promoting pedophilia when didn't realize and you start looking at it on a spiritual level and going, man, I actually didn't realize that it's actual categories saying barely legal. And the fact that we're okay with watching barely legal is sick because we're programming our mind to say she just turned legal, so she's okay, but really she's still fresh 17. She's still fresh 16. Ooh, that
Hmm.
turns me on. That's sick, man. You're training your mind. So now, when I think about relapsing, it's those things that are attached to it, and it's harder to relapse. Does that make sense? Like now, it holds more weight. Like, damn, if you relapse now, it's more of a disappointment within myself on a spiritual level. Like,
Hmm.
I can do better than this. At first, it was just female attraction, getting gains in the gym, getting energy. I didn't care if I relapsed ultimately, and I know these guys feel the same way because they relapse, and the first thing they say is, "Did I lose my gains? Oh man, am I gonna lose gains in the gym? Oh my God!" A guy told me not too long ago. He said, "Man, I relapsed. Man, I need some advice." He said, "I haven't been feeling female attraction as much lately since I relapsed." It's all in your mind, first of all, man. But it just shows you this is the deepest they're doing it for. They're doing it for. I'm doing it so when I go to, hey, AlphaSincere, I went to the grocery store today and a beautiful chick was standing my way, man. It's working. They're doing it for that. But what happens when that gets old?
Hmm.
It's nothing from keeping you from going back to porn. So that's why I tell guys, I think you should look into self-improvement. You should look into spirituality with your no fat, with your semen retention, because that's going to give you more purpose, man. You know, when
Mm-hmm.
you are able to look back, even if you're not spiritual, when you're able to look back in life, it don't have to be spiritual, just real purpose behind why you're doing it. Female attraction is not purpose. Gym gains is not purpose. I'm sorry to tell you, because you're trying to get gym gains for what? More female attraction. Honestly, you want more muscles so you can attract more women. Why? So you can give them more of your seed, so you can give them more of energy. Why? So you can continue to be in what? A slave to your sexual urges. See how it all ties back
Mm-hmm.
into sexual urges.
Mm-hmm. I like
So
that, man. And there was something you said you posted in your Instagram too, because you posted Think and Grow Rich as a book recommendation for everybody.
love that
And they
book.
yeah, and they talk about that too. He says sexual transmutation, I think that's what it's called,
Absolutely.
about saving that sexual energy and putting it into your body of work. So that's one thing. Second thing is orgasms versus ejaculation. Have you looked into like the male orgasm? Because I didn't even know that men can have actual orgasms, and not like
Yeah.
ejaculation,
Yeah,
but
no, I
like
seen it. Yeah, I seen. Yeah, yeah, I did my. I seen that. But see, here's my issue with that. Like, I see some guys who, uh, I don't know if you hip to Steph's Code.
who's that?
Okay, he's a he does what I do, you know, but he's on a larger scale. You know what I'm saying? I was
Okay.
actually a fan of his, but he's on a lot
Hmm.
way larger scale than me. But
Hmm.
anyway, he kind of when he promoted his semen retention, he would tell guys, which is true, a lot of guys, you can still, because of what you just said, or orgasm. You know, you still can engage in sexual activity and retain your semen.
Hmm.
So he would, you know, kind of promote, which a lot of channels do, promote semen retention in the sense of just not releasing your seed. You still can have sex with your girlfriend, just do not release your seed. You know, let her get hers off. And even if you get yours off in terms of an orgasm, don't ejaculate,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I really wasn't big on that. You know, with me, you know, in the semen retention community, they got two levels. They got the semen retention where you can still have sex, which is normal. And then they have monk mode. I always kind of,
Mm.
in my content, I preach monk mode. What monk mode is, if you do your research, monk mode of semen retention is just complete celibacy, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? No porn, no sexual activity. And
Hmm.
I would always preach that, because I would tell guys, for me, semen retention is not a religion, it's not a cult. It's a
Hmm.
tool for me. That's it. I can't speak for other people. For me. So
Hmm.
because it's not a cult and it's not a religion, I use it as a tool. And I think using it as a tool, you should use it to get what you want to get out of it. So if you want to master your sexual urges, say I'm going to do it for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and then live your life. Hopefully now when you engage in sex, you can deal with women better. Because ultimately, I can't speak for other people, but for myself, I still love women. I still seek to deal with women. I'm not at a point, nor will I ever be at a point in my life where I'm just like, oh, I'm done having sex forever. I'm done with dealing with women intimately forever. I'm going to
Hmm.
live in a cave. Come on, men, let's go. We're done. No, I love women.
Yeah.
So I still seek to engage with them. I just want to have my power back as a man. I just want my control, because guys, now you look at your timeline, a woman with big breasts pop up and guys lose their mind. They can't
Hmm.
focus. They're in the comment section. I'll marry you. I'll drink your bath water. I'll give you all my money. What's
Yeah.
your cash app? Can I cash app you some money?
Ah.
That's
Yeah.
unhealthy, man. You know. So I hope I didn't lose. I kind of lost the question that you asked, but
No, it's all good. The only reason why I wanted to bring that
yeah, I
up was
researched it, man. I seen what you're talking about as well. Yeah, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
believe more monk mode for me, man. I believe if you're gonna do semen retention, I think you should just hold off on all sexual activity until
Hmm.
you are ready to engage back into sex. That's how I
Hmm.
think. I don't think you should tread the thin line. Like, do you know what edging is?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No, no.
I don't agree with that. See, I don't think you
Hmm.
should play with fire like that. I think you should truly dedicate yourself to, if you want to do this. Because think about it. If let's take it out of that, man. If it was sugar, man, if it was fast food, you wouldn't play with yourself like that. You're not
Hmm.
gonna play with yourself like, okay, I'm just gonna put some sugar on the counter like it's cocaine and just smell it. I'm not gonna ingest, I'm not gonna eat the sugar. I'm just gonna rub it with my hands. You would look at that as weird. Like, like, why am I doing this, man? If I'm trying to cut back on sugar, I need to cut back on sugar. So why would
Hmm.
I play with pornography? Why would I play with masturbation by edging? Okay, I'm
Hmm.
just gonna get close, but I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna smell the burger. I'm not gonna bite the burger. You
Yeah.
know, like, come
I
on, man.
got you, man. No, the only reason I wanted to bring that up was because when I first heard, I was in a club back then. I was like 18, 19, 20. I was talking to a guy, And he
Yeah,
said, "Nah, man, I don't ejaculate. I have orgasms." I'm like, "What?" Because in my mind, it was the same thing. But I've only actually had like ever one actual orgasm before, and
right,
it's more like it's something that happens in your brain. And
absolutely.
there's like a whole process. There's a book on it. I forgot what it's called. It's like the multi-orgasmic man or something like that. If people want to look into it, but I also wanted to bring that
Mhm.
up because obviously people have girlfriends, all that type of
Right.
stuff, and they don't want to refrain from sex. But the other topics I want to get into is toxic masculinity.
Real quick, right before you get into it, it's gonna be
All
long.
right, go ahead, go ahead.
What it follows back to what I said. You said people have girlfriends. That's what made me bring it up. This is why I advocate for monk mode, is because
Mhm,
I understand that people have girlfriends, right?
mhm,
This is why I tell them do it for a certain period of time. If you can't, if your girlfriend can respect you enough to give you 3 months of your life to
mhm.
do what you need to do, or if it's 30 days, man, if it's, I like, honestly, whatever your goal you want to set, if you're with the wrong person, I'm sorry to tell you that, because that's no different from her trying to lose weight and you continue to bring her snacks. They will
Yeah.
they will call you an abusive man. They will say that you're not supportive of all these things. So
Mhm.
I try to tell guys, know your value. It's just because you have a girlfriend shouldn't be an excuse to get off your purpose as a man. And that's why I love men empowerment, is because that what you just said was a key point. Women don't tell each other that. No, women don't say, yeah, you want to lose 10 pounds, but what if you have a boyfriend and he likes you big? No, they encourage you, but with us men, it's like, yeah, I know you want to do it, but what if guys have a girlfriend? It's like an ultimatum, and it shouldn't be like that. If you're truly serious about no fap kings, those listening
Mhm.
and semen retention, it's something you should do for you. And if your girlfriend can't respect that, then maybe you should look into a new girlfriend, or maybe you should look into being
Mm.
single. Just food for thought.
I feel that, man. So that actually brings me back to my next point, which is toxic masculinity and demonizing men. Yeah, because you made a post about this and I commented under it, and I don't think it exists. Like, I hate hearing that phrase, man, toxic
Right.
masculinity, because it's like there's nothing toxic about masculinity. It's more like that
Absolutely.
the absence of masculinity is what's
Absolutely.
toxic. So if you
Absolutely.
want to talk more about that, what you think about it, all that type of stuff.
Like you said, I agree. I don't think toxic masculinity exists. I know it don't exist for a fact, because at the end of the day, like I said, what ties toxicity into masculinity? I would like to ask people,
Hmm.
because last time I checked, it was a guy who makes coaching, me and coaching content as well. And I have to tag you into his post, man, because it was a powerful post. He makes content as well, and he put up an article of a guy speaking on how the last 7 mass shooters or something like that all was raised by single mothers. And
Hmm.
he was speaking on toxic masculinity. He was like, you guys say toxic masculinity a lot, but the last 7, mass shooters was raised by single mothers. Don't quote me on this. It was his post. He
I
put
get
up
it.
the
Yeah.
article, but I just respected it because it's from what I've seen in my personal life, the lack of masculinity in the household was toxic. If anything was toxic, it was the lack of masculinity. Now, here's what toxic masculinity comes from. Toxic masculinity comes from, first of all, we know the feminist agenda, to
Yeah.
even put the title, to push the effort. But on a simpler level, toxic masculinity comes from things like the meathead culture. It comes from things like this meathead in the gym who takes a bunch of, protein,
Mm.
he works out and, oh, let's hook up with chicks. He's this college guy. And let's hook up with chicks, and the chick walk past and he smack her on the ass and woohoo. And they'll use that to advocate. See, toxic masculinity. This is just toxic. But I like to ask those, why does that tie into masculinity? Because masculinity is the opposite of that. Masculinity is respect. Masculinity is discipline, sexual discipline. To me, the most masculine men on the earth are people like monks,
Mm.
guys who meditate, and they control all these dopamine receptors. They don't, they're not distracted. Like, it doesn't get more dominant and masculine than having control over your mental, your spiritual, as well as your body,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
as far as toxic masculinity, it don't exist. Like I said, shitty people are shitty people. If a guy's an asshole, if he's a womanizer, that has nothing to do with masculinity, and we're not gonna let you blame that on masculinity, just like you're
Mhm.
not gonna let us bash femininity.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
another thing.
last point, and I'm done. Last point. I almost missed that. Why is it okay for them to promote
Mhm,
masculinity when it comes to women? When you see Ellen DeGeneres, or when you see, and it don't have to be her because I'm actually a fan, but when you see Ellen DeGeneres or any woman, when it comes to the LGBT community, it's promoted. The more women behave masculine, it's promoted. They tell women nowadays, embrace your masculinity. They love it.
Hmm.
They love it. A woman could do anything a man could do. She could play basketball. She can, if a woman's, Ronda Rousey, look at Ronda Rousey. They were saying she can beat Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. They were saying she could beat men.
Hmm.
But if that was reversed, if you was there to utter these words of these guys, Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, these guys can beat a woman fighter,
Hmm.
you're sexist. So it's like, why is masculinity promoted as healthy when it's time to promote women empowerment and women's strength?
Hmm. Yeah, that was my next point actually. A couple of things actually. It was I never hear anything about toxic femininity. It's only toxic masculinity that exists to these
Right.
people. They don't want to talk about the fucked up things that women do, like the women that get involved with men. They marry them and they take them for half their shit, or even
Right.
more. They
Or the
don't talk
women
about.
who love sleeping with married men.
Yeah, yeah, that. Don't talk about any of that. And then the next thing, because I know a lot of men do feel demonized, and it's their masculinity is like always under attack. They want men to be more feminine, but women aren't attracted to feminine men.
Absolutely.
If a woman gets involved with the feminine man, she ends up leaving him typically for a more masculine man or cheating on him or something like that.
Yeah.
But that brings me back to my next point. It's women in their masculinity and aggressive women. When did that start, and what is your opinion on it? Because some of the happiest women I know, they're married with children,
Yeah.
and some of the most miserable and angry women are those women who tell themselves, "I don't need a man." They seem like the most angriest women.
I think it's a war going on. I think it started way deeper than just masculine and feminine. I think I was reading something about this not too long ago. It kind of inspired my video too, and it was speaking on how you take over a generation, how you take over a people, how you take over a culture, how you take over whatever you want to call it, right? Is you have to weaken their strongest men, right? It only makes sense because if you seek to take over something, right? If you seek to dominate something, you're not going to get that far with strong, powerful men. You're not going to get that far with free thinkers. You're not going to get that far, right?
With
This is
warriors
why
and stuff. Yeah.
they teach us group thinking. This is why when people think about things like entrepreneurship, they get clowned, they get laughed at. But when someone tells you they just got a new job, congratulations, everybody's excited for you. Oh my God, how much you're going to be making? But then you go tell someone, you started your podcast business, or, you go tell someone you started this t-shirt business, or, oh man, I don't know if you should do that. They're encouraging group thinking because ultimately where masculinity, femininity, and toxic lies in the middle started was we need to begin to get the men to behave more feminine. It's more about the men than it is the women because
Mhm.
we need the men to be weak. This is why men constantly apologize. This is why we see more men. I was just watching something not too long ago where it was, I don't know if you've seen it, but like the TikTok challenge where the men was switching and dressing up in women clothing.
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw that.
Like,
Mhm.
this some reason this is funny. And when you don't seek to do this, like I had women in my comment section saying toxic masculinity because I didn't find anything funny about this. Oh yeah, you're just toxic masculinity. You're really insecure. It takes a real man to be able to put
Mhm.
on a dress. It takes a
Mhm.
real man to be able to dress up like a woman. So I'm insecure because I don't find anything funny about behaving like a man because I love my masculinity. I love who I am as a man. I don't seek to be feminine. And we all have naturally we have feminine and masculine. It's natural. Him is our balance. We have feminine and masculine. That is true. But I tell people all the time, just make sure as a man your masculine is dominant. No different than estrogen and testosterone.
Mhm.
Men are, more dominant in testosterone. Women are more dominant in estrogen. This is why when, women seek to, gay women seek to become, butch or more, manly, they'll take T shots and stuff like that. They'll take testosterone. But I'm
Yeah.
saying all that to say is they want men to become weak because when they're pushing their agenda, they need that submissive man. They need that feminine man. This is why you can watch videos of a man beating up on a woman and it's 10 guys standing around not doing nothing. This is why you can watch police or whoever abuse their authority, and no, not even about a race thing. I'm just talking about it's people.
Mhm.
And it could be black, white, Asian, Mexican, and the men of the community don't come together and say, hold on, we're not going to let you do that. The men are just as submissive as the woman, and they love that. And this is why they're pushing the agenda of toxic masculinity, because they want to shame you for feeling masculine so you can ditch masculinity, so you can embrace your femininity and what comes with femininity. I tell people all the time, no, whether you like it or not, submissiveness is femininity. I'm sorry, it may hurt
Mhm.
people. It doesn't mean you disrespect them more. It doesn't mean that they're less value. It's just what it is. It falls back to what you just said. The happiest women you know are married with kids.
Mhm.
And a lot of times those women are because they choose to be submissive, or they naturally are submissive. And submissiveness, like I said, does not mean that you step over a woman you disrespect. It don't, I hope people don't screw my words. It just simply means that you are willing to take charge as the man, as your natural state, and she wants you to take charge.
Yeah.
So how could you ever have a problem if you are willing to take charge as a man, take the lead, and your woman wants you to do that? You both are on the same page.
Mhm.
But the problem with this is this mindset creates more strong, masculine, free thinking men. And you can't have that. You can't have free thinking men when we're trying to do what we're trying to do. We need men to be submissive. We need men to be scared. We need men to have a scarcity mindset, because all these things, oh, let me get why women fall into play. Now, this is where women come in. We need women to believe that they can do what men can do, because when the time comes,
Mhm.
when we need to do what we need to do, they won't have the power like they think they do, because ultimately women are not strong in that sense as men. This is
Yeah.
why men have built empires, men have built civilizations, and it's just the honesty. But if we have women believing that they can be just as strong as men, and then when we come do what we need to do, the truth is revealed, and who is there to help? Not me. And I got a quick story and I'll leave that alone. But my sister, her ex-husband, he was more feminine than masculine, and he one time they heard a noise in their house, right?
Mhm.
And naturally, in traditional, you hear noise in the house. What do we do? You send the man to go check, right? The man, you don't even send him. He goes check to make sure his family's okay, his girl, his wife. He lied in bed and let her go check. My sister had to go check the house when they thought they heard a burglar in the house. Why? This grown man
Mhm.
lied in bed under the covers and played it safe. Now, how does that benefit those who seek to control? How does that benefit those who seek to have power? Isn't that great? Think about it. If you were someone who wanted to have control and have power, wouldn't you want men like that?
Mhm.
It would be easy.
Yeah.
If I wanted to come steal someone piece of cake, I wouldn't want to go steal a piece of cake from this kid whose father is extremely self-aware, who's masculine. This doesn't mean that he's it just simply means he's going to protect and provide for his family. I wouldn't want to take a piece of cake from that kid, but I would want to take a piece of cake from the kid whose father is sitting there doing TikTok switches.
Yeah.
Who father, who
Yeah.
father is sitting there allowing the woman to go check for the burglar. This
Mhm.
will be easy as pie, because I know I can do whatever I want to a woman.
Mhm. Yeah. So let's get
It's an
into
agenda.
something. Oh, go ahead. Were you done, or?
Yeah, I'm done. No, that was it. That was it.
All right. So let's get into female nature to kind of start wrapping things up a little bit, because that's
Yeah.
your one of your main things you like talking about. And honestly, I think that alone could help a ton of men, because a lot of men don't really understand women now. Like one of the common complaints I hear from women now is, "Where are the real men at?" But then these same women always encourage men, "Hey, you need to be more emotional. You need to be more
Right,
feminine."
right,
But
right.
then we always know, like, 'cause this is what got me into the all this type of stuff. When I was younger, I heard that a lot. Like women want that romantic, that good guy. Like every guy has heard this shit growing up. They
Lie.
want that.
Right.
Yeah. And then we started seeing like, okay, well they want this supposedly, but then they're fucking all these
For the bad
douchebags
boy.
and yeah. So that's one thing that kind of woken me up to that. Plus, obviously, my own experiences in relationships. It's like when I was doing my own thing, when I was in my purpose as a man, doing my work, like staying focused, analytical,
Yeah,
all that stuff. It's like women were attracted, like that's one of the most sexiest things for a man to do to a woman, is a man
yeah.
who is in his purpose.
I'm
He
gonna tell
knows
you
where he's
why that
going.
is too. When you finish, I'll tell you why all that is.
Yeah. So that's one of the sexiest things for a woman. A man who's in his purpose, and women will come along and they'll try to test that. And if you allow a woman to fucking push you off your purpose, off of your mission, off your whatever, that's when they end up leaving you. They start disrespecting you. They start resenting you, and
Yeah,
they end up leaving you. Once they bring you down to a certain level, they end up leaving you and going for another man and repeating that same process.
yeah,
So, with that being said, before I let you go on, I did want to say a couple of statistics. So obviously, almost half of all marriages end in divorce, with 70% of those women initiating the divorce. And that to me is just fucking crazy because it's like men are getting fucked over left and right in the courts, getting like taken for their money, their house, their whatever it is, all this type of
yeah.
stuff, things that they worked hard for, their children, custody, all that stuff. So I know a lot of men are going through this problem, but so speaking on female nature and anything else you want to say, to what I just said, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. On a primal level, it's all about primal. On a
Hmm.
primal level, woman in cave, when they lived when you lived in a cave, right? Let's just say
Hmm.
caveman times as an example. The woman needed the more masculine, the more dominant, right?
Hmm.
Man and men because it was about survival. Because at the end of the day, this is in their DNA because they need to make sure. I'm gonna send you a link too. I want to send you a link, right?
All
We
right.
are animals. People don't want to accept. It's no different. I was watching a video about lions, right? Because I love lions, and they was explaining why, the lioness go for the alpha lion, and they said she go for him because she needs to make sure her and her babies are protected on a primal level. So a lot of times, women do this unknowingly, and the reason you and I and everybody else are confused is because women are even victims. And I know a guy's gonna be like, "What? What do you mean? Are you simp? You beta for this?" Hear me out. It's an agenda. Women don't even know why they are being taught to like the romantic guy. Women are being taught naturally. You answered the question. You said, they say they like, the sensitive. They say it. We know about female nature is women actions and their words never line up. You know why? Because, and take this, please quote this somewhat. Quote me saying this. Alpha Sincere said this.
All right.
Their actions are primal. Their actions are who they really are.
Mhm.
Their words are constructed. It's society. It's an agenda. It's feminist. It's that's what their words are. Women are being marketed to. You need a guy to buy you a wedding ring, right? The biggest K jewelers wedding ring. You need the perfect wedding. Let me show you 1,000 wedding commercials. They're programming women, and women don't even know. They're programming Titanic. Huh? I'll swim in the water. You can have the door. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the movie Titanic, but he
Yeah, of
gave,
course,
yeah,
yeah.
he gave up. So they're being programmed to, I want, I want this, I want this, and it's all about, like I said, an agenda of the money. And now you're beginning to see, now they're beginning to push more of the masculine female. Now they're starting to push women being masculine. But
Mhm.
originally, you were seeing that they were pushing more of this. You want this to upsell marriage, to upsell that fat ass wedding ring. Excuse my language, but that fat rock,
Good. Yeah. Mhm.
that salary, to upsell those things. But on a primal level, and reason why I'm saying all this is through my life experience. One thing I learned is I've been with women, man. I'm gonna be real, who was freaks, man, and they on a primal level, man. It's who they is. They don't feel guilty. The worse you treat them, of course, with respect, guys out there listening, of course. And what I mean with respect, I mean in terms of consent. I mean, no Me Too movements over here,
Mhm.
but I'm saying in terms of consent, the more you are dominant with a woman, the more are masculine with a woman, she's
Mhm.
gonna love it. But then when I would have asked those women things like, why do you feel like a man should hold the door for you, or why do you feel like because it's just what he's supposed to do.
Mhm.
He just should do that. So that means you are being told that that's just what he's supposed to do. So she's just going with this agenda that she's being programmed by feminists, by whoever, that a man should hold the door, a man should be a sweetheart, a man should be these things. So then she spew those things out her mouth because that's the agenda she's been taught. But her actions is who she really is. Her actions is when that guy walks in with that six pack, and it don't have to be, that shallow. I'm just using an example, or it can be,
Yeah, yeah,
He walks in with that six pack, and she's attracted to it because her boyfriend has a beer belly
or a ton of money.
or a ton of money. When the guy walks in with a ton of money, or or whatever the case may be, right?
Mhm.
And she's like, you know,
Yeah,
I don't even know why I feel like this. It's equivalent. Let me put it. The last thing I'll say to wrap it up. It's equivalent to you as a man on a primal level. Let's talk about what you like as a man. Most men are attracted to certain things. You're attracted to big breasts. You're attracted to a big butt. You're attracted to a slim waist. Maybe you're attracted to thin chicks. Maybe you're attracted to short chicks. Right?
mhm.
Nothing's gonna change that on a primal level. Right now, they could push an agenda that you should be into women who are this way, who cover up, but deep down on a primal level, if you love big breasts, you're gonna always love big breasts.
Yeah,
So they're not much different from us. Their primal level, if they love a guy, because what people fail to realize, it's not about dating a thug, it's not about dating a bad boy. What do these guys have in common? Thugs, bad boys, the jocks, whoever you want to call them, they are masculine. They are dominant. Most, high school jocks or whatever, you see the movies, most of these guys, I don't even just mean like in the meathead sense. Most of these guys, even in real life, they're leaders, they're alphas, they take control. If you see them with their friends, most of the time, they're not following their friends are following them.
mhm.
You know, Most of the time they're not following rules. They're living life on their terms. They're a rebel, and these are the traits that attract women to the bad boys. These are the traits that attract women to the jocks, the douchebags. Is not the fact that they just love douchebags, it's the fact that they love the masculinity in them. It's the fact that this douchebag has this trait of not giving a fuck what people think. And that's masculine.
Mhm.
Even if she don't know that, it's just something about him on a primal level. She's like, fuck, I like this guy. Like, what is it about this?
Biological, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's what
so,
it is.
so just wanted to talk to the women real quick about this because I know a lot of women who are like, "What's wrong with me? Like, why can't I attract a man? Why can't I whatever?" But a lot of these women, like we said, they're more in their masculine energy. They're
Yeah,
aggressive. They're trying to be dominant. They're trying to be like fuck, just cussing and what, or just trying to be like over aggressive. And but
yeah,
men aren't attracted to that masculine energy. If
right.
the only type of men that those type of women are going to attract are more feminine men.
Feminine, right.
Yeah, but they can't stand that. They start resenting that. Over time, maybe they'll like it in the beginning, but over time, they're like, I can't do it. It's like women want to be led, but they're gonna test that guy to make sure that he can lead.
Yeah, and yeah,
So
you hit it right on the head with that.
mhm. Just that's one thing about these women. Like, if you want to attract a more better man, like or a masculine man or a real man or
Yeah,
whatever
it's not rocket
women
science. I tell
call
guys
it.
all the time,
Yeah.
it's literally not rocket science. If you're, what they say, opposites attract in the sense that everything in this universe is yin and yang. That's
Hmm.
why on this earth we don't have all hot water. We have what? Hot water, and then we have cold water.
Hmm.
You know, on this earth, we don't just have all sun. No, when the sun goes down, the moon comes up. The sun and the moon in terms of day and night is what I mean. We don't have all day, we have night. We don't have all cold, we have hot. We don't have all estrogen, we have testosterone. We don't have all feminine, we have masculine. It's not rocket science. A woman has a vagina, a man has a penis to go inside of a vagina. So I would tell people, like, it's literally nothing worth overthinking. It's just that simple. If you are attracting masculine men, it's because you are feminine. If you are attracting feminine men, it's because you are masculine, sweetheart. If you are attracting feminine women, it's 9 times out of 10, 100 times out of 10, because you are what?
Masculine.
Masculine. If you are attracting, masculine women, you
Mhm.
are a feminine man. Same thing with submissive and dominant. If you get around women and they're more dominant with you, I'm sorry, but you have to look in the mirror, King. They're dominant with you because when they get around you, they feel that you are being very submissive to them. So that woman feels like she has to take control of the situation. I see young guys all the time. They'll get around women, they be nervous, right? They be on
Mm,
YouTube videos and stuff. They'll take dates, go on dates with women, and they're shaking. They're more nervous than the girl is, and
mm,
they're behaving very submissive to get her approval. And guess what she does? Like when the date first starts, she's very submissive. And by the end of the date, she's taking on the role of dominant because he behaved submissive the whole time. So it can't be too submissive, even in gay
I was
relationships.
gonna say that, yeah.
Even in
Always
gay
a top and a
relationships,
bottom.
it's always a dominant, it's always a feminine.
Hmm. Yeah, and so just to clarify, we're not saying that women you can't be masculine, you can't be whatever. That's not the point. It's just more of like
Absolutely.
if you're wondering why a masculine man isn't attracted to you, it's probably because you are in that masculine energy as a woman. Like you can go to work, you can make your own business, you can grow your own business, you can be as dominant and aggressive as you want. But at the end of the day, when you go back home to your man, we want that feminine woman, to just
Absolutely.
like it's just like you said, yin and yang. But, other than that, man, is there anything else you wanted to say? Imma give a couple of things, like, if you wanna tell people what your YouTube is, your Instagram, people wanna
Yeah,
follow you
absolutely.
off of that, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, you
And
can
last
check me
words
out
as
on
well.
you. Yeah, you can check me out on YouTube at Alpha Sincere. That's
Mhm,
ALPHA Sincere, and also on Instagram at Mr. Female Nature. Now, this channel is for men empowerment. Both pages is for men empowerment. What I seek to do is continue to build a brotherhood with men. Now, we joke, we laugh, we have different conversations in the comment section. Ultimately, we love women. We learn how to deal with women better, but we also do not take bullcrap. We
mhm,
see the real for what it is, and we will continue to build and grow. So if you are battling with depression, if you are battling with anxiety, please check us out. Also, as well, if you have insecurities or low self esteem, or you need help with dealing, like I always tell guys, my channel is not how to get women. I'm not a dating coach. I'm not a pickup artist. I
mhm,
teach men how to deal with women. So you have to get the woman on your own. But once you got her, once you have her, I teach you how to deal with her. I teach you about female nature. I teach you about those games she may be playing, or why you're confused that, you know, when she hit you up and said that she wanted to snuggle for a week straight and then you gave in, now she doesn't respect you. But when you wasn't giving in, she was all up on you. I teach guys why that is. I don't tell guys, oh, say this pickup line and you will get more chicks. That's not what we do. We teach guys to be the best version of themselves and the most alpha version of themselves. And the reason why I say the most alpha version of themselves are because we in a day and age where we're constantly being taught that alpha male and beta male is a myth. It don't exist. But yet here we go when we see why the woman friend zones certain men, and then the other man she sleeps with on the first night. What do you call that?
mm,
It's just the title at the end of the day. And the title we choose to label it is beta male and alpha male. So
mm.
I teach men how to become the more alpha version of themselves. And check me out, guys.
Awesome, man, I love it. I did wanna ask one thing. Are you thinking about starting a podcast yourself? Because that would be awesome, man.
I never really looked into it, man. I had to talk to you more, man, and
Mhm,
I don't know, get some advice or something, because I never really been, did much research with podcasts. That's why I wasn't sure about how to go about this or how this work, man. But
mhm.
I enjoy the format. I would love to, look more into this, man.
Yeah, that was actually one of my goals because the way I started it was really simple, and I wanted to help you if you were interested in that, get yours started up too.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we'll talk, man. But other than that,
Sure.
everybody, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. This guy's really awesome. Check him out. You have his Instagram, you have his YouTube. Um, that's it, guys. Hope you had a good one, and take care, everybody.